Hey there, welcome back. We explored ConfigMaps in detail in the last lecture and used them to supply environment variables value to our container. As we realized, the environment variables do not get refreshed in container with the update in ConfigMap. So this whole lecture is dedicated to a proof of concept where we will try to devise a mechanism to update these values in the container automatically. The solution we are going to discuss in this lecture may not be a Kubernetes best practice, but for us it provides an opportunity to explore Kubernetes and we care less about anything else at this moment, right? Awesome. Let's get started then. Let's revisit the config map one more time. Okay. I want to put these values in the top so that my data is in the end, which exactly how I like it. This doesn't make any difference for the Kubernetes. This is just for my own sake. Okay. And I have added this, copied and pasted this text from somewhere, and I want to remove the line comment, and sounds good. So I have added another key value here where key name is appsettings.json, and this is the text which is the value for this key, right? And I want to apply this new app setting. And now I want to apply this config map. Okay. Some experiment we want to do with this. Okay. This is done. There are more than one way to use the config map. We have already seen the use case of environment variables where we used config map key reference in order to reference the key from the config map and made use of its value. This time what we want to do is mount the config map to our container as a volume and then see if there is any difference from previous one or no. So this is what we want to explore. Let's do it. A volume is a directory that is accessible to all containers running in a pod. So first of all, we want to create a volume. So at the container level, I'll say volumes, and the name of this volume I'm giving is config. Its value will come from the config map whose name is demo app, and items what we want to get out of this config map is, as well as we want this value at this path, appsettings.json path. Okay, fine. I have created this volume inside the specification. Okay, same level as container. Expanding it with this, indeed the volume will be created, but container will not be able to make use of the config map because we have not mounted this volume to the container yet. So we have to do that also, and it is very straightforward to do this. So this is our container. Here what we have to do is, after environment variable we can do, let's say, so here volume mounts. What is the mount path? I'll say temp. Which volume we want to mount? We want to mount config. So I have to put it here. So inside volume mount, we just have to specify the mount path to which you mount this volume and name of the volume which you want to mount. As you can see, your volumes can be more than one. So it is obviously it is important to specify which particular volume you are mounting. So this is why we have to specify these two values, and with this to our container the volume will be mounted. Okay. Let's save this and apply. So there is no error. Our manifest is applied successfully. I'll say kubectl get pods. New container is created and running. I want to connect to this. So who will type this much? Okay, no much difference so far. Print env. No difference here also in the output as such. What we want to do is go to this location which we specified inside our manifest. So cd to tmp folder and do ls here. You can see one app settings.json is created. Let me see the output of this. So when I do the cat, you can see this file has got the output of same what we specified over here. So the text that we specified as the value of this key is created over here as a file, right? This is awesome, but the fun doesn't end here. Let me do something here. So I'll say update version 2. Let me put it. Okay, this is there. Now I want to apply this configuration. Just doing it, clearing it here, and kubectl. I'll need this terminal again, so I'm doing it in the different terminal quickly. -f. I just change the config map, nothing else. Okay, let me go to this terminal again and do ls. Okay, cat app settings. Alright, there we go. It took a couple of seconds, but now we can see the updated text is available over here. What this means is, even though the environment variables are not refreshed with the change in the config map, the values which you are mounted, the files or any other value that you have mounted on the container gets refreshed after a couple of seconds on the container. Okay. So what does this mean? Well, it is easy to conclude. The config map values which you are using as environment variables doesn't get refreshed with the change in config map, but the values which you have mounted on the container, whenever gets changed on the config map, gets updated on the container also. It is true that we have gained some knowledge from this proof of concept, but still, what is the use for us? Let me tell you. So now it is very evident, very clear that these values can be mounted as a file on the container. True? Agree with me? Okay. If these values are mounted on the container and whenever we make change in the config map, automatically those mounted values also gets updated. This is also very clear. We have already tried this with the help of app settings.json, right? Now tell me how big deal it is to tweak this logic and read the values of scraping URL and file name from those mounted files instead. So I don't want to provide any environment variable. I'll directly grab these values from the files which are mounted on the container. And if I can do this, whenever the config map value is updated, automatically the scraping URL and file name will be updated on the container, and I can expect the scraping URL will be scraped and its output HTML will be stored in the text file, right? Text file with this name. I'm sure now it sounds very straightforward. We are not complicating the things. We are making them easy, more streamlined, as well as more convenient, right? Let's do it. Thank you so much, scraping URL and file name environment variables. You are not necessary anymore, so I'm just deleting it. Okay, I am mounting the file anyways, so this is also not needed. Here I am not interested in app settings as such. Okay, this was just needed for the proof of concept purpose, so I'm just removing it, and now I want to mount the entire config map. Okay, so that all different values will automatically get created. So I'll just comment this out. Okay, I don't want this to be created. It's from the text itself you can figure out it was just for the testing purpose. Closing it, I'll have to apply it later. Okay, and now what we want to do is, with creation of this volume and mounting it on the container, I'm sure these values will be automatically created as file on the container. All I have to do is read those values inside this logic, right? So let me change this. I have already prepared this command. I'm just gonna replace this. Okay, I have replaced this with this text. I'm sure this is very simple shell script for you to understand, but still let me explain you. Here we have got a while loop which will continuously run, and perform whatever is specified in these highlighted lines. Here we have scraping URL, which will grab the value from the temporary and then a file named as scraping URL. File name is another variable that will grab its value from this particular file, okay, found inside the temporary directory. As we know, from the cat we will get the text of it, and with this special character we are storing it as a value of this variable. So if you are new to this shell scripting, you will have little bit of trouble in understanding. If you have familiarity with shell scripting, I'm sure you know it already. Okay, we are printing these variables and nothing else, right? This will remain same. Everything is same. I'm just sleeping it for 10 seconds and then again it will continuously run. So this sleep time is basically the difference between two iterations. That's it. If you remove it, that will also be fine, but then it will continuously run. I just want to, give it rest of 10 seconds between the iterations for which we have put this sleep time. As simple as that. Can't wait to try this. So kubectl apply -f ConfigMap updated, and now I want to apply the web scraping deploy.yaml. Done. Okay, there's the pod. Oh, okay, my bad. Okay, so I tried to connect to the container which was about to terminate, right? So this is the right one. Paste it here, hit enter, and we are inside the container. ls. Okay, fb.html, this is created. So far so good. Let me go to the temporary directory, and yes, file name and scraping URL, these two files are created. Let me cat the value. Yes, file name has a value of fb.html, and the scraping URL file also has its value, or no? Yes, it has its value. If I just take a look at the processes, I can see it is trying to cat these values and initialize these variables. So from the logic we have tried to implement, if I change the value in the config map, this process will not change, it will remain same, but these values will be updated, and automatically this program will start taking those values with the next iteration, right? Because we have while loop with the iteration and sleep time of 10 seconds, right? Let's try to do this. So here's the config map. I'll change the value to twitter.html and twitter.com. Yeah, okay, save, applied, go back. So right now there is value as fb.html. It will take a couple of seconds. So whenever the value of this file name and scraping URL is updated on the container and our while loop runs its next iteration, we can expect a new file with the name of twitter.html to be created over here, right? True? I sincerely hope you are with me so far. Now let me try to do again, and there we go. The twitter.html file is created, means everything is working perfectly fine. We never had to restart the container in order to reflect the values from this config map. How cool is that? Remember, we have echo statements now, so we can expect this output in the logs. So if we want to see the logs, we can do that also. Okay, so earlier we were getting these scraping URL and file name values, while sometimes back these values were changed to Twitter. Because of our while loop and sleep time of 10 seconds, every 10 seconds these values are updated, right? Interesting thing to note here is you can pass this switch follow in order to automatically refresh your output and see the fresh logs, right? So this is how we can make use of the echo statements inside our container. Okay, this is superb, isn't it? Well, I'm simply loving it, and I hope if you have tried everything with me, you are equally excited. And if you are with me so far, please don't go anywhere. Let's meet in the next lecture and explore another exciting concepts of Kubernetes. See you there. Take care. Thank you.